Yep.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Oh crap, we need our headphones.
All right, it's a little past 6.
Sorry.
We were chatting.
We had a few technical
Carried
issues
away.
with Ken's women in his life.
Listen,
and my men.
why
What
am
can
I
we
not
say?
flashing?
What can we not say?
Oh, anyway,
okay.
so welcome
Yay.
to Law and Disorder. This is the second show. Camera's up there. So, listen, there's a range of possibilities. And I have been arguing today about the value of doing a segment on milkshakes.
Oh man!
So I'm 100% down with the future segment on milkshakes. She's like,
it's Ken's show. I will go with the flow.
Back in the day when we did the show, the milkshakes would have fit in seamlessly. It's how you do it.
Okay. But we're waiting on the milkshake until summer, you said.
Well, no, I said to another day.
Oh, another day. Okay.
No,
I think summer would be best.
We
on
have
the
to get a
milkshake
day
segment.
we have to get a day when Marty's not working.
Okay.
So we have to plan.
Does he work at an ice cream place?
No.
Oh,
He's in fine dining.
Oh.
Yeah. So for this show, there's a couple of things on the agenda. In case you're wondering, you're probably not wondering, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. Okay. AJ hardly said a word last time.
I disagree. It's not working. Yours are not loud. We need to get you a new pair.
So what we did was we really talked about my life, and then when I watched the show later, believe it or not, I felt like I had a lot more to say. Let me explain. I felt like I left out a lot of important details, and you would have.
It was that one story that lasted almost the whole hour.
It
took me a little bit by surprise.
You would have not gotten flavor for what I was talking about without some of the stuff. So, anyways, I don't remember what stuff. So what we didn't really get into is, AJ the yogi, AJ the teacher, AJ the recovering person, AJ the child. Must have been a child too at one time. I don't know. She's from New York, not New York City.
I am. I'm from New York.
Yeah. So, let's flesh out the character a little bit. So, what's your claim?
Well, I say I'm from New York, but New York City people don't claim me because I'm from the upstate area. So they don't claim us upstaters.
Does it have a name, the area you're from?
I grew up in Orchard Park, which is a small little town south of Buffalo.
South of Buffalo.
Yeah,
okay,
snow country.
And when did you move?
I moved down here when I was 14, and it was because that winter we had 200 inches of snow, and the National Guard had to come dig us out of our house. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and my dad said never again, and that was it.
I don't want to make this all about me, but in 1967. We had 28 inches of snow or something.
28. Okay.
Something really big, right?
Wow.
And my dad came
200.
And we had the garage was at the back of the property. And he came home about 12 inches in. And told my brother and I to shovel the driveway, the sidewalk, and the walkway.
Yeah.
And it was still snowing.
Of course.
And the other kids on the block literally stood there.
And why?
Looking at us like, you do know. And
but if you get it, I'm on your dad's side on it.
Yeah, well, let me tell you.
If you get a bit, at least you don't have that whole other foot when the other 3 feet come.
No, with the drifts, you couldn't tell ever. Woke up the next morning, sucked.
Maybe he just wanted to get you out there to do some exercise.
He had to call down to the office and have a bulldozer brought out to get himself out of the garage.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
They had snowplows come, and you could hire the snowplow, but
my dad had a company that had these small bulldozers called Bobcats.
Oh,
and they brought a Bobcat out and got him.
Well, that was an easy way to do it.
So, all right. So you moved down here at 14. Where'd you go?
I loved Orchard Park. I went to a very small little private Catholic school, and I loved it. I know. And I loved Orchard Park. It's like Norman Rockwell. It's like unbelievable. Loved it. Loved my friends. Loved it. And then they moved me down here to Dallas, Richardson, It was the biggest culture shock of my life.
You know, so where did you go here? I mean, did you go to high school?
Yeah, I went to Pierce High School in Richardson.
My kids went to Pierce High School.
Yeah.
So, so you graduated from Pierce.
I did. And then I went to Texas State for college.
Uh-huh.
And master's degree. I have a master's in business and an undergrad in business administration, marketing.
I knew you were smart.
Marketing.
Yeah. So, and then you taught. You did all you
Well,
taught.
no, then I owned clothing stores in Deep Ellum for.
This is part of her line.
Yeah, that is. Peace, the Love for Peace line. Very cute. Very cute.
And the backside's got a, I don't know.
Martin Luther King on it. Martin Luther King.
If I try to turn around.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
So. And then, so I owned clothing stores in Deep Ellum, different ones for many, many years. And then I started a publication in the adult industry, a newspaper. You like the way I put that? Nightclubs.
I'm so glad she cleaned
Gentlemen's club. I know. Last week I said titty bar. He got very upset at me.
God, that's what you have to do it for.
I know. It's just he gets so upset at me. So yeah, so a bunch of the adult industry used to advertise. I had that for over 10 years, and then I got out of that, took off a year, and started teaching. And I've taught inner city high school for 15 years. Worked with all the gang kids. Love them. Love them. I have one little Brian Ramos who I adopted, my little whatever we want to call him, juvenile delinquent. He's graduating from college this year. Miracles do happen. And now I'm on Dallas Yoga Magazine.
I'm going to have to ask you to give me some help here. Well, am I doing this right? Because there's nothing here, but on yours, look at you.
That's because I have so many friends.
And stuff.
Hi, Ted. Woo. Hi, Jared. Jared joined. Diana joined. Monty joined. Hi, Monty.
Tell Ken Corner.
Oh, I went to college with Monty. I love Monty. Yeah. I know. My fraternity brother, Kappa Sigma. Woo. Fraternity brother.
You're not supposed to be in a fraternity.
I was a little sister to a fraternity in college. And I was in a sorority.
So
but you know what? The fraternity was more fun.
Here, chat's disconnected. Anyways, we'll work out the successfully connected. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just checking like some of the logistical stuff because my daughter, who produced this last week, blew out of here to go work at Starbucks, and she sets this up and then skedaddles. And
that's okay.
She's okay with it. I'm not okay with it.
Okay.
All right. So apparently the only place that we can get feedback is on Amy Joe's.
Yep. Everybody calls me AJ, but my Facebook page is Amy Jo Crowell. So yay. And I've been in recovery for over 30 years from alcohol and drugs.
How does somebody do that? 30 years.
Very carefully.
I mean, that's really your
one day at a
life.
time.
That's really your adult life.
I've been sober and clean longer than I've been alive. Yeah.
No, not longer than you've been alive.
Oh, not longer than I've been alive. More than half my life. Longer than I've been alive.
So,
oh, Lordy, it's been a long day.
Look at somebody said, why haven't you started the YouTube live? How could I ask that of myself? It says that's me. So, anyway, while she's examining, we are live.
We're live somewhere out there. We're at least live on Facebook.
We're live on YouTube.
It says right here we're live, YouTube live. We are.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so we're okay.
So speaking of strip clubs.
It's okay to say strip clubs, but not titty bar.
Right.
Okay, I didn't realize this. I have to get the lingo correct. Okay.
So
what's the difference?
Like the old show, Law and Disorder. Well, one is kind of, and the other's kind of like,
Anyway. And you used to own these kind of clubs at one point.
Well, let's just throw my business out there.
Among other things, gun ranges. I know. The sordid past of the current ordained Buddhist monk here and attorney.
That was some sordid stuff.
I know.
All right. So I'm going to elicit more about AJ today and in the future. But since she brought up the adult entertainment business, I thought I'd tell you about a recent legal case where Carmen Electra and some other models sued some strip clubs in New York City because their image was used to promote the clubs. And so they sued the clubs. The clubs responded by saying, listen, we contracted with a promotion company, a marketing company. They're the ones, if there was permissions needed, they're the ones that failed to get the permissions. We shouldn't be in it. But that's not how the judge saw it. The judge saw it as follows. The judge looked at the case and said that the models, excluding Carmen Electra, had no case. And pay attention, you young ladies out there, because they had done a photo shoot and signed away their rights to their image during the photo shoot.
That's correct.
And the judge felt that given the totality of the circumstances, this was adequate for this marketing company or whoever, the photographer, to give off or sell off the rights to their image without their permission. Well, I shouldn't say without their permission, without further permission. So,
but they signed the document giving him permission to do whatever they wanted with their
when
photos.
somebody's young and they get an offer to do modeling, you know they're going to sign that.
And the last thing you're going to think of is that it's going to end up in a strip club ad.
Right.
I mean, really, that's the last thing you're going to think of.
Now, Carmen Electra was treated differently by the judge. She said that based on her income and her popularity,
who she is,
she really had an image to protect.
Right.
Well, one of the women who was a model showed an income of $92 for 1 year from her modeling. So she's like harmed by this.
Right.
And another one who made $92,000, she said still not. But Carmen Electra had millions to show. But interestingly, the judge said that they should be prohibited, but she didn't give her Carmen Electra any money. She didn't give her any compensation, which as a lawyer, I got a problem with allowing somebody to win a case and not giving them anything for it except a mea
That's really
culpa.
why do you think that he didn't award him anything?
She
Okay, interesting.
She didn't award her anything.
That's interesting part of it.
Well, she said that she said something effective, let me see. I hate misstating.
No, that's fine. It just sounds a little odd to me that she wouldn't have given her anything.
Yeah. By the way, this earnings of $5 million between 2009 and 2012. That's Carmen Electra's income.
I thought she would have made more money.
And one woman I said had 90 something. That was $400. Okay, so you know what I summarize these articles.
Yeah.
I didn't put down why she didn't give she found little.
Why do you think she did? Just your personal opinion, even though it doesn't.
I guess she felt that there was no evidence that the clubs actually increased revenue,
business.
gains, that their marketing actually resulted in additional revenues on her back.
Okay.
It's still not right.
No, well, and I mean, if Carmen Electra's pictures on a gentleman's club ad, I guess she thought she made enough money with her $5 million.
Well, while we're on the topic of law,
yes.
So I can segue my.
Do you ever remember having nuclear bomb drills in school?
It's funny you bring this up.
We did.
This morning during meditation, I was meditating, and I told this to my group. I'm in a little group in the mornings that focuses on recovery, and I won't say AA, but so I was
12-step program.
I was meditating, and I had this thing. You know how the mind drifts when you meditate. No, you don't know because you don't necessarily meditate. So can I tell a little bit about it? So when you're meditating, you stay in the moment. That's the kind of meditation I do. It's called Vipassana meditation, mindful meditation. So I do it. Yes, right? Yes. It originates actually the time of the Buddha. So there's other meditations. This is the one I practice. So I was meditating 3 times a week. I'm involved in group meditations. The rest of the time I meditate on my own. So I was at this group meditation, minding my own business, and all of a sudden there was this large truck with lights. It looked like a cop truck. And so somehow I was scoping it. I'm like, cops are here. And then I'm like, wait a second.
He's having flashbacks.
Yeah. Then the truck looked really badass with lights and stuff. And it was pulling something out of the ground. and I look, and it was pulling a shelter, like a bomb shelter,
Are
out
you
of the
serious?
ground. Wait, and I turn around.
In
and
the parking lot?
Well, this is in my, no, this is
Oh, in
my
your
head.
meditation?
My head.
Oh my God.
And I turn around, and it's the house I was raised in, so here's why I'm telling you this story, because you mentioned nuclear. Back when I lived there, I lived there in 62 during the nuclear war threat
Right, I remember all
with
that.
Russia. So what I think is, is a flashback, because I remember walking around the basement. Chicago's have basement. Here in
Up
Dallas,
east, yeah.
nobody has a basement. So I remember thinking, we need to seal these basement windows. And, we need to do something because
in case the bomb comes.
in case the nuclear bombs
Even though we wouldn't be there if it did, but that's okay.
You were going to have to stay in your basement for weeks, maybe months.
Extra food.
The whole thing. And so people were putting bomb shelters on their property. They usually dug down into the thing. So they were pulling out this bomb shelter and driving away with it. They were repossessing it. For some reason, we had stopped paying on it. And then I caught myself and I came back to the moment. So
that is a very, very odd meditation.
So everything's on.
I know, you never know what comes up in meditation.
You just asked me, did you, and isn't that coincidental? Just this
that
morning,
really is.
I had that flashback.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a flashback.
Well, I just remember in
we never had a
school,
bomb shelter.
but I remember in school, like we'd have, you know how they have fire drills today? We'd have
So
nuclear
you'd
bomb
get under the
drills.
desk.
And we'd get under the desk and put our hands over our head. And even in the 3rd grade, we'd look at each other going, why are we doing this? We're dead if the nuclear bomb comes.
We weren't just kidding.
Oh, no, we were. We were looking at each other going, why are we here? What's this? And we were laughing about it.
You were too stupid. I feel in contrast to you.
Oh, I'm telling you, we were laughing about it. We're like, we're dead anyway. Why are we sitting under these desks?
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. What's the?
So back to the law and disorder. That's the name of the show. And so what I do in the mornings of the show,
Sort of like our background,
is I pull articles that I think are contemporary, recent, relate to law or social things. And so I got a couple for you today. 2 cops were charged with manslaughter. And here's another one we argued about just lightly before the show. These 2 guys, these 2 officers, transporting 2 mentally ill women in a prisoner van during Hurricane something.
Why would they choose to move them at that point in time? That's just ridiculous.
That's an issue. And so they're being charged with involuntary manslaughter because the van got caught in the flood. These 2 officers got out, stood on top, got rescued. The 2 women were locked inside. They died. They drowned. So initially, the day after, the police chief, terrible accident. So sorry. Well, 3 police investigations were conducted by different agencies, and they said, wait a second. The guy drove around a barricade. He was along the PD River, which is was under significant surveillance and warnings about it. And
that's so weird. I just don't understand.
So they let these ladies. Can you imagine? They were padlocked in the back of the van
and just drowned.
Yeah. And their primary crime was they were mentally ill. So these 2 guys made it, but they're not out of the woods yet. But they've only been charged with involuntary manslaughter, so the penalty is not that great usually on an involuntary.
But that's really disturbing that they just got on top of the van and let the women drown in the van.
So the discussion about that is that first off, did they have a key to get in through the?
That was my question. Yeah, that was my question.
And the water pressure was such that
they couldn't open the
door was.
They couldn't open the door.
Yeah, and so the basis of your breaking up video is jamming. Radine.
Wow.
Which one?
We can't. There's nothing we can do.
That sucks.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, we're getting better.
We'll get a better.
We'll get a better connection. It's that thing.
Oh.
That's where the YouTube's coming from. Oh, this is Facebook Live. Oh yeah, that's Facebook. Go to the YouTube Live. You can go to Ken Goldberg's YouTube channel and you can watch it there. It's a much better picture and video and everything. So you can go to YouTube channel, Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder, and we will be live there. It's probably better than watching it on Facebook, but please continue watching it on Facebook if you're not having a problem.
So, what was I done with?
You were talking about the
Oh, I
cop.
wanted to tell you about involuntary manslaughter.
Okay,
because
yes, please.
I think every now and then we enlighten the audience or educate them. So involuntary manslaughter, then there's voluntary manslaughter. They're all homicides.
Correct.
Homicide is essentially taking of a life by illegal means. Self-defense is a homicide, but it's got a justifiable.
Okay,
You took a life, but it's justified. That's self-defense.
Right.
And then manslaughter usually means you
didn't
necessarily intend.
Really?
You intended the act.
You planned
but
it.
You don't necessarily. No.
No?
Manslaughter is reduction of murder.
Murder
is
okay, thank you.
I intentionally killed somebody.
Gotcha.
Right?
I planned it and did it, the whole thing. Okay.
Manslaughter is more like reckless conduct.
Okay.
You do something that you should have foreseen would cause death.
Okay.
I hit you in there with a pipe. I'm surprised you're dead.
Right. Okay.
And then involuntary manslaughter is kind of like gross negligence. You do something.
Gotcha.
And I'm making this up. You do something so outrageous that, wow, you intended.
Like the officers, like
officers
having the two women in the van, unable to get out.
You may not intend any harm, but by your actions, you created the entire environment for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about a vehicle accident, right? I'm driving, and I run the red light. You're driving on the green light.
Mm-hmm.
I hit you. I kill you.
Right.
That's
vehicular manslaughter. I know they used to call it that, didn't they?
Well, it's still called that.
Oh, okay.
And it's only vehicular manslaughter if I've done something extenuating, aggravating. So it's one thing to have an accident. So if I ran the red light, that could be an accident.
Okay.
It could be one is I'm high. If I'm high, now there's a crime.
Now is that vehicular manslaughter?
No, that would be vehicular manslaughter.
So there's this, what about texting?
And so
vehicular manslaughter.
Be a good question.
Oh, that hasn't been,
Well, speeding now. Am I speeding? What if I was going the limit? I just didn't catch the red light. That's an accident. People have that accidents all the time. That's why a lot of people get really aggravated when they see that somebody died.
But is that
it's heinous? I mean, it sounds heinous. Kids get killed, everything. But there's no. It's only an accident. It's negligence.
Well, so like if the guy, I got run into, a guy ran the red light, full speed, 45 miles an hour, and ran into the side of me, and he was texting. Now, if I had been killed, what would have happened?
I think you should be charged with vehicular manslaughter.
Okay, that was my question. That's what I was. That's what I would have said.
We've
I don't know.
been working more and more towards making distracted driving equal drunk driving.
Right.
Because studies show that distracted driving, texting, has the
it's
same,
just as harmful. Yeah.
Yeah, it has the same danger level
that
drinking and driving has.
Right.
And as a bicyclist, I'm on that, right?
Well, motorcyclist, man, that's me.
Now, speaking of police officers.
Your segues are awesome. He's trying so hard with it.
I'm on
This
this
is hilarious.
Okay. I did my homework for the day.
Wow. You're not going to leave it sitting there. Okay, what's the next one?
Tell me what the YouTube channel is again.
The YouTube station is Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder. And you can go there, and it's a great picture. It's a much better picture than on Facebook. So please go ahead and go to Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder if you're having problems on Facebook and it might be breaking up or something. I don't know. If it's just fine, then stay there.
So most of you already heard this case. It's a little old. The reason it's in the news today or last day or so is it's the Alabama sheriff that went and bought a beach house with the $750,000 that he held back by not giving good food to prisoners. Because there's an Alabama state law.
I just can't believe this. You gotta laugh because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
So what happens is there's this law, or seemingly in Alabama, it's an old law. So the sheriff could take funds that were not spent at the end of the year.
Wasn't it federal
He
funds
could take them
mostly?
personally. Well, here's the follow-up.
Mhm.
So he took money,
Right.
$750,000, and he said, mea culpa, but it's the law. If you don't like the law, he said, listen, I asked the legislature to change the law and they didn't do it. I'm buying that like I'm buying.
Yeah, but he obviously didn't.
Right,
do that.
I want swampland in
Yeah,
Florida.
he obviously didn't. Do
So the reason it's in the news today is two things. One, turns out it was more like 1.5 million, not 750,000. And the bulk of it comes from a federal contract to house immigrants who have been arrested at the border. So he's been housing on average 300 immigrants a day under a federal contract. And then
feeding them. I mean, I don't even know where you.
So he
How
had,
can you keep that much money? What are you feeding them?
So my man had a press conference. Check this out. And he said, here, he invited the press and said, I'm going to give you a meal. I'm going to show you how well I feed them. And there was a picture in the article, 2 hard-boiled eggs, a piece of toast and grits.
Are you serious?
That was the breakfast that he was serving.
Every day then, probably.
That's what he claimed he was serving. That's still, who's going to live on that?
Well, that's
you know
what
what? Even if I ate it, I'm going to kill.
Yeah,
Afterwards,
yeah, you're
right?
not going to be happy.
I'm going to be so grumpy. And you know me, I love to eat. I'm a prisoner. I'm in, because it's not just the immigrants. He's, there's the jail.
Well, and there's a problem because there's no meat in there. Now, I'm a vegetarian. I don't agree in killing animals. Miss PETA. However, when you don't give somebody meat, I know, but if you're not giving a prisoner meat, they're not going to be happy.
So they had a picture of it, and it just was sad, right? And he's like, he offered it to everybody. He had a plate for all the press, right? Anyways, and so now the federal government is embarrassed.
I hope
because
so.
this has all come out, but they're not sure it's a crime yet because they were paying the sheriff a fixed sum. So it's not like he said, give me, I'm gonna buy food every day and I'll spend $34 per prisoner per day, but only spend 20.
Right.
He said, I'm gonna feed your people, I'm gonna feed your immigrants, and you're gonna give me X number of dollars. I got it from here. Now, they're supposed to go in and make sure your menus are, the federal government.
Right. They're supposed to oversee it.
Yeah.
That's where you get caught with the federal things. You can't.
Yeah, he may be in trouble with the feds because that's federal money he took home, bought a beach house with. That's not state money. My man's not out the woods yet.
Wow.
Right? And while we're talking about jails,
Where's the beach house? Can we go visit? I mean, why not? He might not have it long.
It'll be open to the public. All right. And now, while we're talking about jail, I only got this one last one, and then
you know what? That was actually a good segue.
You like that one?
Yeah, here we go. We got to do a little. That was a good segue that time. Okay. Good job.
That was a long clap. All right. So the headline was what the government shutdown looks like inside federal prisons.
This is, in all honesty, this is scary. This is disturbing.
Where's the headline thing? Oh, here it is. Here it is. I mean, for me, my headline.
Right.
The Federal Bureau of Prisons is operating without funding, and it is furloughed up to half. It's 36,000 person staff. Most of the staff that get laid off first are therapeutic programs. So if you're counseling, you're providing education, you're providing nutrition, you're not immediately responsible for the transport and safety, security. Thank you. Okay. So those were the first, I'm sure, to go. Now they still got to get rid of more. So you get rid of prisoners. Now it sounds like, I'm not positive, that the kitchen guy is now having to do double duty doing some security stuff.
That's what it sounded like to me too. It sounded from the way it sounded to me was that it doesn't matter what you're doing there. You could be the janitor wiping up the floors. You're going to be taken off your job and you are going to be put on security because when you work, you're not getting paid. And I get that. They turned down.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure if I'd go to work if I wasn't getting paid.
So and all the family visits are canceled because they don't have enough security. So
any of the holiday festivities.
This is all related to the shutdown of the government. Okay. So I got to tell you, if you've never been to a prison, this is not good. This is not good. Guys need to be in a highly structured environment. And they need some release valves. It's not cool. We know historically when prisons go on lockdown, now lockdown is a form of security. Everybody can't move.
Right.
And that's how, but if you're not in lockdown or you're in lockdown, you got people getting agitated.
Yes.
When I was living in Arizona, Arizona did something so stupid. They took low-risk prisoners, and a private corporation in Indiana opened up a prison and said, we need prisoners. So Arizona said, well, we got some extra ones. And they said, well, we'll make you a deal. You send us your prisoners, we'll house them for very little. We'll give you a good deal. So Arizona decides two things. One, don't want to tell the prisoners because that could create some agitation, some security risk.
Because then they're not going to be able to see their families and stuff if that's from the area.
And so they
right?
sent
I mean,
them.
that would be an issue.
Right.
For
Oh,
some.
yeah. And they're going to send them low-risk guys.
Whatever.
Anyways,
Yeah.
they get to Indiana and they riot. They try to tear up the place. Here's what we find out.
Indiana or Arizona?
Arizona to Indiana.
Oh, okay.
They riot
I had
in
it the opposite in
Indiana.
my head.
They walk
Gotcha.
up, they wake up in Indiana and they're like, what are we doing here?
Right.
You know, where's our privileges? Well, this prison was just new.
Right.
The guys are all private. They're not, most of them haven't even been in corrections before. So they're not letting the guys smoke cigarettes when they see them. They're not doing anything that they not, and these guys are getting agitated. So they riot.
Right.
Now they charge the guys with rioting. So they took guys who were really
who were good, halfway decent, just had made a blip on their record.
Mostly minding their own business and completely screwed the pub.
That's a shame.
So the governor of Arizona had to open up an investigation and see what had happened. It was a cluster effing. And,
well, this is going to end up as a cluster effing because what's going to end up happening is there are going to be riots, and it's not going to be good.
This is not, you know, listen, there's club feds. They're not going to have a big problem.
No.
What keeps
they will after a while because you're not going to continue going to work without getting
what
paid.
keeps you in a club fed is the threat of going to a real prison.
Right.
So those guys, they
are going to pretty much behave.
You know, the guys at club fed, they don't want to be with Bubba.
I got you.
And Bubba and those guys, they want to stay on the club fed. So they won't. It's the guys who are doing long term, and they really got nothing to lose. And if you don't have enough security for those guys, they'll whoop your ass. That's
not, and that's across, but this is all across the entire country, so that this is happening everywhere, and this is a very scary situation. You know, and that's going right over
half of a 36,000 steps. So that's 18,000 people.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say. I wouldn't.
Imagine you wake up one day and you've got to tell half your prison system, your employees, to go home. Right. You're not getting paid. I'm thinking that's not cool. Blame it on the Democrats, those low-life.
I know.
Libtards. Now, I was watching TV today. Happenstance.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, it was on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Pelosi was having a press conference, and it said it was live, and it was to announce a bipartisan initiative to pass the universal background check law. Now, let me explain background checks for those of you that are not. I'm an advocate of universal background checks for firearms. Oh, we don't have that in Texas.
No, I have the most unbelievable story about that, but go ahead.
Okay. Some states require that anybody who buys a gun at any time has to get a background check. I think Illinois is one, California is one, Texas, Arizona, not one. Now, so the federal government says anytime a firearm is purchased retail, anytime, anywhere within the United States, there must be a record of that transaction. And it must be run. So the
Oak Cliff purchases don't count? No?
I'll come back to that. You must have.
Shout out.
To my man out there.
To my gang kids in Oak Cliff. Shout out.
So, an FFL dealer, federal firearm licensed dealer, has to be the point of purchase for every new gun sale in the United States and every retail sale. By retail, every pawn shop, every gun shop, anybody that's in a commercial seller of firearms
Has to have the
has to have an
Right.
FFL and has to either, one, run the background check, or in a state like Texas, the person purchasing the firearms must have proven beyond the standard for federal sale. So in Texas, Arizona, many states, if you have a firearm card, carry card, that exceeds the standard set by federal.
Oh.
So the federal government says that there's a list of questions. You can't be a felon.
Right.
You can't be under indictment.
Right.
You can't have had a misdemeanor or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't be committed psychiatrically. And on and on. You can't be a fugitive from justice. And there's a check sheet.
No, I'm so sorry about that last one for you.
You got to go through it. You got to click it, and then you got to sign it, and that's under oath. And then if you, in states where they don't have concealed carry, they have to do what's called the NICS check. I can't remember right now what NICS is, but it's the FBI background check. You call it in and you say, AJ's here. She's trying to purchase Smith & Wesson 38 revolver, and here's her information. And they put you on hold. They come back and they say, yeah.
I didn't know this part.
Instant.
Okay.
They come back and they say, okay. And the seller can now transfer the
And this
firearm.
is in all like commercial places to buy the gun.
Yeah.
It has to go through the FBI check too.
Right.
In Texas.
Right.
Or all over the country.
All over the country. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then, now, they may not say okay. They may say not okay.
Right.
That's it. End of sale. That gun ain't going nowhere.
You know what? If they give one to Ken, they're going to give one to you.
There's no,
if Ken qualifies, we all do. We're cool.
There is no rhyme or reason who gets a gun. And the third possibility is delayed. That means that for some reason, council approving it, there's nothing to say that to not approve it. So it's
How long
delayed.
is it delayed for?
Well, if they don't get back to you within 5 business, you are allowed to release the firearm to that person.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they'll call you on day 6, where they used to call me day 6, and they say, we prefer. Well, actually, sometimes they call us on day 5 and say, we don't have an answer yet, but we prefer you don't sell that gun to that person because we're not. And I'm like, you had your 5 days.
Right.
I'm sorry, man. And if you got denied, they wouldn't tell me. As a firearm dealer, they wouldn't tell me why. It's just denied.
Yeah, they won't.
And then I give you.
Well, I would think that would be a little scary as a firearm dealer, as you're standing there with a gun and you're telling somebody, "I'm sorry, you can't have this gun." That would bother me.
No, I was much better on that.
I would that would be a little scary.
So then I give you a flyer that tells you how to contact the FBI and ask why you were denied. Okay, that's a background check. If I went in with a concealed carry license in Texas, Arizona, and many other states, I've already
gone through all that.
I've already gone through that. I've submitted my fingerprints. So now all they have to do is take a picture of that, put that in.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Instant sale.
Okay, I didn't know that.
No contacting the FBI.
That's interesting.
We're good to go. Here is the problem, frequently referred to as the gun loophole. I don't refer to it as that because what they're talking about is there is no control nationally of the secondary firearms market. So here's what I mean.
Correct.
I bought the gun yesterday at a gun store. A year from now, AJ wants a gun.
I buy it from him.
I see no reason not to sell it to her. So I can sell it to her. Now, if I did that, if I bought it yesterday and sold it to you tomorrow,
that might be a problem.
intended it for you, that's called a strongman purchase. That's a federal violation. But I legitimately, I held on to it. I didn't really get much use from it. You want it, I can sell it to you.
Right.
And I don't have to know a lot about you. You're my friend, but so there's no control in most states.
Well, that's why
and that's called the secondary market. And that's why some people, I'm very clear here. You go to a gun show, there's no gun show loophole. Because if I'm the FFL holder and I'm at the gun show,
but in the parking lot,
I'm still running the background checks. I am.
If you have at the gun show, you have to run the background.
No.
So if I meet you in the parking lot, I don't know.
No, you can walk in. I can have a table and it says private owners.
Yeah.
I can buy and sell guns without a license.
Okay, so now I'm confused.
But so I can do it at a gun show, and I can
Right.
do it at home, and I can do it at the grocery store, and I can do it at the parking lot.
Right.
No controls.
Correct.
It's the secondary
Okay, now
marketplace.
that's what I thought, so I just want to make sure.
Now, if I know you're a felon, I'm committing a crime.
Okay.
Okay, but if I don't know you're
Well,
felon.
yeah, that's why I always laugh when people are saying, and I guess because of teaching so long and, in my lovely old Cliff, okay, people are like, all these gun laws, we need more gun laws. Well, anybody can get a gun. I don't understand.
Well, we do need one gun law.
Okay, I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying.
We need the
But
universal
anybody
background
can.
check.
But even if that was in, everybody can still go and get a gun secondhand.
Yes, but what it would do is it would reduce the following. Okay, so, well, here's a very typical incident. Somebody would come to me when I owned a gun store, and they would say, how much you give me for my Glock? This actually happened. I said, well, I'll give you $300 for it, And they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to the gun show. I'll get a better price there. And my first reaction, I actually said this out loud. The guy said, no, you won't get more there because I know the dealers there.
Right.
They've discounted what they're selling, so they're going to discount what they're buying.
Right.
And he says,
To a private
I'm
owner. Yeah.
Yeah,
In the
I'm going
parking
to
lot.
sell to somebody who doesn't want to do paperwork.
Yeah.
And I look at him, and he knows what I'm about saying. And he said to me, this one guy I remember distinctly said, I wouldn't sell to a criminal. To which I replied,
How do
not
you
so
know?
diplomatically, oh, that would have been the nice way. I said, oh, I'm sure because he'd have a fucking A on his forehead like he's a criminal, and you know it.
And you're upset I said titty.
I just told you that.
Did you
Just
say
tell you
this?
what I said.
Oh my God. I bet the guy was like, You mean we don't have
The
that? We
scarlet
don't
letter.
have the
The
scarlet
scarlet
letter to
letter.
say we're a felon and then we can't buy a gun?
He pissed me off.
Okay, yeah, you just, okay, you pissed
So he
off.
went to, so guys,
Okay.
and there are videos of people walking into gun shows and they buy a firearm from a private party. Now, these private parties, a lot of them, they're at all the gun shows. They're
Yes,
wheeling and dealing.
yes, constantly.
So here's what a universal background check would mean. It's not about gun shows, kids. It's about everywhere. It would mean that on a national basis, every sale of a firearm would simply have to be accompanied by a background check, either the carry card or the NICS check. So my friends.
But that's through commercial. That's not through
No,
somebody.
no, I'm saying.
There's
it
no
would
way
have
to enforce that.
Well, yeah, there is.
How are you going to, if I walk up to you and want a gun in the parking lot, how are you going to enforce a universal gun law? You're not going to know I have a gun.
Right. So when I bought the gun, here's what's going to happen. And this is what infuriates the gun people, but not me. So I bought the gun at Billy Bob's gun store.
Okay.
I bought a Glock 9mm. It's been in my possession.
Were you looking for it on the floor to show everybody?
It's a cat. Cat just walked.
Oh, I thought you were looking on the floor like you were going to show people your gun.
Black cat. So you
Yeah,
come
there
to me,
is.
you want to buy the Glock 9mm.
Yeah.
Okay. I assume you're not a felon.
You assume. You don't know.
Well, and that brings us to the next story. So I get hired to represent a guy who sold a gun, some guns. And here's this background. He was a young man, 21 years old, was looking to be a law enforcement officer. I went out and he got himself a federal firearms license. It wasn't that tough. His family had a business and he used the business address. At one time, there were hundreds of thousands of FFL holders in the United States. And then the ATF said, you know what? If you're going to have an FFL, the address you use has to be zoned for the sale of firearms. So if you were using your home address, you had to get a letter from your jurisdiction saying, yeah, that's okay to have a commercial business there. And that wiped out a few 100,000.
Yeah, that's quite
But
interesting.
there's still a lot of them. And he had a business address. He used his parents' business. So some friends of his said, we're going to the gun show. Could you go with us? Then we don't have to do a NICS check because one FFL dealer buys from another. There's
You
no
don't have to
NICS
do
check.
it.
You
Yeah.
just show them your license.
Sure.
You get the information. You got to give him a copy. He does. For two friends, he gets a couple of guns. Nothing major. They go home. Well, my man had not quite gotten around to setting up everything by the book. And that includes the book, right? So the guys are like, listen, let us have the guns. When you're ready to do the book, we'll get the book done, right? He gets busted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine. He didn't know that.
Right.
Because the guy had been
How would he
convicted years earlier, and
Yeah.
all they knew each other was from this mutual
Acquaintance. Yeah.
Yes. The other guy, I'll come to, he gets arrested. I go down to the federal courthouse. I'm trying to find out more, I'm helping him out. I say to the prosecutor, I said, this stuff goes on at the gun show all day long.
Right.
How did you catch this? The second guy that got a gun was under investigation by the FBI for murder in Pennsylvania. This is Texas. So they were watching this guy and seeing who his friends were.
Oh my God.
So my guy got swept up. So you never know, right?
Rarely would something like that
So
occur.
you said, how would anybody know? So
That's a rarity.
Okay, so here's what would happen in a new society. You would buy the gun at Billy Bob's.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it a year, 2, 10, whatever. Now you want it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go back to Billy Bob's or someplace that's got a dealer who's got access to this background check system.
You know that's not going to happen.
Well, I would have to, otherwise I'd be committing a crime.
Do you think that the people who are selling guns really
Yeah,
care?
I think most,
I think half care.
Absolutely. Most of us who own firearms do never intend to sell
I get
firearm illegal, and we sell legally all the time.
There's so many who do sell illegally.
But I can't control that.
Correct.
So let's start with
the little part. Okay, yeah. I got that.
So you're making the gun people argument.
Okay.
All right. So good for you.
Okay.
All right. To the moon.
Well, my point is, it's just, I get it somewhere. However, there's always going to be, from experience of teaching and my kids getting caught with, not truckloads, but trunk loads of guns and their illegal guns in their cars. There's always going to be an illegal gun trade, a massive illegal gun trade.
It's always going to be. I mean, if you go to California where they have recreational marijuana, there's still people selling marijuana,
of course,
illegally. Okay.
But I get it. You have to start somewhere. I get
and universal background check is the easiest, simplest, effective method to initiate tomorrow. The only expense, the only thing you really have to do is allow. Well, I could actually, under my proposal, I could become an FFL dealer without having a business. So a gun store has to have an FFL, and he's got to inventory every gun that comes in there has to be inventoried. Every sale, he's got to show it going out. You and Ken show up at my Bubba's gun store. I say, I'll run this for you. I run it. It's turned down. Ken goes away with his gun that he had. You go away with no gun. I don't have to inventory this. So I can charge you, let's say, $15.
Right.
If I do that 10 times a day or 10 times a week, it's more than I had before, right? So there's a venue. Cool. So there's an immediate venue. Plus, there are thousands and tens of thousands of FFLs out there right now. Every gun store. So I can walk in the gun store. He says, well, you want to buy that gun from him, you're going to have to pay me $25 to a NICS check.
I got you. Do you want to hear my story?
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, so my friend was a cop, and he started dating this lady who had a special needs son who was 21 years old. Okay, and the special needs son didn't like that his mother had a new boyfriend. So the kid goes off and does what he does during the day. He's pretty functioning. Okay, and he comes back, and the mother says to him, well, what did you do today? He says, the special need kid says, well, I bought a gun today. I'm going to kill your boyfriend because I don't like him. And she says, what do you mean you bought a gun? He says, well, I don't have it yet. I have to wait a couple of days, but then I can pick it up. Now, this kid was on state compensation for his disability and was getting money every month for his mental disability. And he was approved for a gun. And so the mother went up to the place and said, and they were like, there is nothing we can do. This has been approved. So we have, so he didn't get the kid, but he did what they told the mother. So they have a gun.
Right.
But the point of the story is that this kid who was on mental financial disability got approved for this gun. How is that possible?
Because the question on the form is, have you ever been adjudicated incompetent? So if that boy had never been taken into a court before a judge.
But he was getting money, so don't you have to
No,
at that
no,
point?
that just means he was disabled.
Okay. Gotcha.
The next
I'm
step
following.
is his family should have said, he can't handle money. You can't give him a
Got you.
check. You got to go in front of a judge and say, my son is so
Well, yeah, maybe the money was going to
mentally
the mother. I don't
incompetent.
know.
No, it wasn't.
What, it was going to
So,
him. Yeah.
My child is so mentally incompetent that you need to adjudicate him mentally incompetent and appoint a guardian. And that rarely happens.
Yeah, that did.
Okay.
That was a little, that
Now,
was.
you don't have to
freaky
appoint a
me.
guardian. You could, you know how people are crazy out there in the streets, schizophrenic, and somebody finally in the family goes to court. They need to be in a mental institution.
Right.
They won't go. The judge has a hearing.
But in the meantime, they're not classified as schizophrenic. But this, I guess what bothers me most about the whole thing is that he actually was on mental disability and receiving compensation, and still able to do that. At some point, mental compensation, you're not able to get a gun. That should be on the list. No guns. I don't know. Is that weird?
No, but let me respond. You don't have to sell anybody a gun.
I understand that point.
Now, I had people come up to me in my store and say,
they probably wanted to
you
sell
sold
it. So
my kid a gun and he's crazy. Or did I let him shoot at the gun range? I forget which. And I told him,
How
he
do you
comes
know?
and he behaves himself. I'm not
Right.
I'm not his mother and father.
Right.
He's a grown man.
That was just scary, because then you start wondering, man, how many other people out there, who have been classified something, mental issues, are able to go get a gun?
Well, so there's laws now being enacted around the country that, if you're convicted of domestic violence, you under federal law, you can never own a gun. You can't buy or own a gun anymore.
Interesting.
Now that's debilitating because they passed it and they made it retroactive. And for instance, in Texas, because I had a gun place, there were people who had pled guilty before that law, not knowing
just
that
to get off
someday
it's like, that's an issue,
So,
and that
and
happens
now-
a lot. That happens to people without money. You know that court-appointed attorneys, they just go ahead and they plead guilty because they don't have the money to kill around, and instead of going to jail, they'll see and make a deal and leave.
Oh, there's just going to be a fine. You won't get in jail
And it
time.
goes on
Get
the
out of here
record.
today.
Yeah.
So
That is an issue.
and I won't tell you how many cops landed up losing their guns in that one. So a lot of states now are saying in divorce cases, if you make an allegation of domestic violence, in some states they can come get your guns. If your spouse alleges that you're prone.
Well, they got to find them, don't they?
Well, I mean, they know where you live. If the spouse tells them,
Oh.
got to be quick about it. Now, let me tell you, because you raised a good point. How do you keep guns out of the hands of criminals? Most of the people I found who lost their guns in a theft, that was a significant way that guns came into the criminal culture. People stored their guns in their cars. I had people come in every month and say, my car got broken into, they got my gun or guns. They broke in my house. So my friends know that I advocate that everybody keep their guns that are not on their hip in a safe, a locked safe. And there's people that leave guns in the car, and I'm like, of course they got your gun.
Right.
They can take your stereo, which is attached to the car, in less than 3 minutes. How hard is it to break in your glove box?
Right. No. Yeah.
Now,
or under your mat.
I want to say that in all my years, 25 years plus of carrying a firearm, I've never heard anybody say the gun was stolen from their holster on their hip. Okay. Leave the gun where it belongs, in the holster on your hip.
All right. You don't have to carry it with you.
Well, yeah, I guess if you want a gun that you don't want to carry with you, that's fine too. So that's a significant way that guns fall into the criminal market. And then there are people that are buying and selling for that purpose.
Exactly.
But you've got so many instances where legitimate sales were made to crazy people who were not known to be crazy
Correct.
by the seller.
I know.
And you know, one of the reasons we don't do much with this whole mental health issue that you talked about is when they had or have mental health issues, that has to be reported to the database.
Yes.
And
Well,
most,
it was reported in this
most
situation I was
states-
talking about because he was getting money for it.
yeah, but most states are behind in reporting adjudications, convictions
Something, yeah.
to a central database.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Just saying.
Oh, look, it's 6:56, so we're almost off the air. So
Oh.
tell them how do you
about?
find the show?
Okay,
What's the
so
you're so good at this.
We are on Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder page. If you're on my personal page, go ahead and go to Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder page on Facebook and like it. But the best broadcast is on the YouTube station, Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder. And if you miss the live broadcast, then you can go and watch it on the podcast on his website, law-disorder. .com.
Law-disorder. Yeah.
.com. Yes. And
I teach meditation every Wednesday night at the Buddhist temple at 84.
Yes, on Stoltz.
84 Stoltz Road. 84
I'm there.
Stoltz Road.
Yeah.
Meditation at 7 p.m. You got to check that out.
It's awesome. If you've never been to a Buddhist temple before, it doesn't matter what religion you are. Oh my God. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it is just so beautiful. And all different religions are there. You know, some of them are Buddhist, some of them are Christian, all different. Jewish. Okay, everybody's there enjoying the meditation to their higher power, whatever it is, going inward. It is the most beautiful meditation and it's fun. I mean, it's amazing.
And DallasYogaMagazine.com, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's me.
Publisher, editor. I submit an article most months.
Yes.
I always like, oh, was she accepted? Was she accepted?
I'm going to turn it down.
And she says things to me like, I had an empty space.
I do not. I've never said that to Ken. He writes great. I mean, come on. He's an attorney in 3 states. Okay. I know this.
So
With the crazy background. It's really sort of crazy because Ken and I, we know each other through many different ways, but it's crazy because our backgrounds are so similar. We both worked with the inner city kids, the high school kids for extended periods of time. We're both in recovery. We both are more into the meditation and that side of prayer. He's not into the yoga yet. It's
Nobody
okay. We'll get
ever
him to
called
bend
me a
down.
yogi.
We'll get him to bend over and touch
Hey,
his
boo-boo.
knees.
Basket.
Oh my God. Is that what you mean a yogi is?
That's the closest I ever got to being called yogi.
What else do we have similar?
Hey,
Ken?
boo-boo.
We're a little off.
Here comes the ranger.
We have the same views politically most of the time.
Yeah, and we didn't throw the president under the bus this week.
No, we didn't.
So in case any of my other friends were listening, I hope you're.
Well, I thought Ken behaved this week about the president and me. I think I behaved about it.
You did.
I did. I
And
did
you
well.
You didn't do a lot of things you did last week talking about.
Well, you were the one talking about swimming naked when you were in middle school, and they made you all swim
By
naked.
the way,
and I do not
somebody
believe that.
posted to me last week that was an Illinois thing.
Yeah,
not
that's
just
what.
in Chicago.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
So you can go check out our old broadcast, and you can go back and listen to old recordings of the show on the website,
Yes.
law-disorder.com. And, email me, for God's sakes, because I want to know how come
Our
everybody
Facebook
was on
message.
her Facebook.
I have a lot
And
more
all
friends.
I got is Radine and Jared on mine.
I have a lot more friends than you do. That's why I love this. Hi, y'all. Yay, look at all my cousins.
It makes me sick. Good night.
Bye, y'all. See you next Tuesday at 6 o'clock right here on Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder with me, AJ. Bye, y'all.
You're so good.